going to ignore the fact that the book was written by mystics. I'm going to ignore the fact that it's a mystic topic, and I am going to stick with the fact it's literal. In common sense and reason, the literal person is refusing to accept the reality of things because of an opinion they've got filtering through. Now, the true reality being that instead of it being a story about a man getting swallowed by a whale, which doesn't really help me today when I want to run Feather's Tail, it tells me that when he's rowing the boat at the beginning, they're rowing the boat across the choppy oceans, the storms of life, the conscious thoughts that are bombarding us constantly. He says, cast me overboard into the depths of the ocean. So I know that this choppy water at the top of our mind and the depth of the ocean is our subconscious mind. So you cast overboard into that subconscious mind, into the depth of meditation. When you're in there, the divine mind, which is represented by the whale, comes and swallows you. Whilst inside the whale you tithe. Tithing in esoterics means to surrender your 10%, your left hemisphere. It is represented as the left hemisphere of the brain in esoteric language. It doesn't mean it's a literal thing, but it refers to the ego, the left hemisphere, the 10%. You give that away to God, you tithe it to the Father. And in doing so, you then become enriched on the right side, the 90%. So the divine mind, the whale spits you out, and then you go and you watch the chaos of the city, but you watch it from the east because you're now sitting in the right hemisphere of your brain. Through meditation, you've tripped off the ego and you're sitting in the creative, spiritual, loving and peaceful side of yourself. And you can watch the chaos of your thoughts within the chaos of the city. This helps me. I say, wow, okay, yeah, when things are getting chaotic, I need to get deep into meditation. I need to allow the divine mind of God to swallow me in there by surrendering my ego and becoming thoughtless, and then I can observe the chaos of my own mind, and when it's finished doing its thing, I can say, you know what, I wasn't involved in that chaos, so it hasn't exhausted me. Now I can get on with doing God's work. Hey guys, I've got a feeling I'm going to have a video each day and everyone's going to say, he's just done all these videos one after another, but honestly, I've just had no time whatsoever. So I'm in the zone of speaking, let's put it that way. I haven't had a chance to speak and it's nice for me to release. And everything's triggering me to think of the next topic, and something I want to talk about for a few months now because it bugs me a bit is opinions and spirituality. Now, with that, this can link into something that happened to me over the last few days. I hadn't uploaded any musings and I couldn't find time to do it. I was like driving to the hospital at night time and running around here all day. I've got sick children everywhere and we're trying to sort out some issues we've got with some land here. We're trying to sort out a new bank account, and I had to do annual reports for the government, and too much. Couldn't squeeze in the time, but somewhere inside me I was saying to myself, I need to get the camera and do a musing, not because I had something to say at the time, but because I felt duty bound by YouTube to do it. Now this was new to me. I've never felt like that. I've never felt like I have to do it, and it kind of made me realize a few things, because when this modern day and age, a lot of spiritual teachers are present online. And I see a lot of them start with a good intention, but many now I see, they are just churning out videos every day on any topic they can think of. And in esoteric biblical terms, this is the sons of God and the daughters of men, which many people take literal and say that there was this breeding of interstellar beings or whatever. But what it actually means is the sons of God and the daughters of men are basically the divine self, the mystical self, intertwining and dancing, if you like, with the ego and the lower self. So you go to a mystical place in meditation, come back down, and your ego overtakes you, and you end up locking your spirituality into the physical plane. Now, you see this in, as I say, some now I find spiritual teachers, especially YouTube's what I'm referring to, they come out with good spiritual teachings to begin with, and then, as I say, they're just chucking out anything, and that's because the sons of God and the daughters of men, what's happened is their spiritual teachings have met a need for them to earn money. They need that presence, they need the turnover, they need the appearance, they need the volume of views so as they can support themselves financially. At the same time, I feel sometimes the message gets very diluted and lost. And it does get diluted and lost. It's not just, now I mentioned opinion, it's not an opinion of mine. I don't like to share opinions, and I'll get on to this. This is just what you see. If you go and check it yourself, anyone can see this happening. Now, with that said, spiritual teachers should bring you to the best teacher there is. And the best teacher there is yourself. The part of you that makes your heart beat, made your body grow, and makes your hair grow, this is the greatest teacher of all. The subtle, intuitive body that is constantly working outside of your brain. Now, your brain is another organ which works independently of you. All you can do is choose which thought you're going to give attention to. This is as much control as you get over it, which is actually a lot of control in the end. But a spiritual teacher should teach you to go within and do that. Now, I say this as humbly as I can. I hope that I have achieved that with my esoteric videos to show people it's not about going outside of yourself, and it's not about singing songs and feeling great and calling out to the sky for someone to come and sort it out. It's actually all about going within and finding union with yourself and finding union with God and tapping into the spiritual antenna of your body, the pituitary and the pineal gland, to find a perfect alchemical union so you can be in tune with your intuitive body and to commune with God. Person should direct you inwardly. They should direct you towards meditation and self-discipline. And if they are not doing that, if they are making you go to them for every answer, then they are likely not, for me, the sort of spiritual teacher that I would be entertaining or have entertained in my life. The only spiritual teachers I like are the ones where I come away, I feel enthused to meditate. I need to go within myself. Now, that's spiritual teachings. That doesn't mean that when you're learning stuff about the physical reality, people can't tell you facts and how it is and get you to come back and learn more, because that's different. But your spiritual teacher should be yourself. And any spiritual teacher on the planet should be as John the Baptist was, who can lead you to the water. He can lead you to the first thoughtless stage of meditation and then leave you to do the rest so Christ can baptize you with fire. A human being can lead you to the first stage, and then after that it's up to the inner workings of yourself and the cosmic consciousness, if you will, to raise you up to the higher levels where you will learn more about yourself and you will gain more knowledge and wisdom through the silence of your mind, or as Jesus said, through taking no thought, or through allowing your eye to be single so your whole body can fill with light, in Jesus' words as well. Now, that's what a teacher should do, and many teachers seem to be sharing a lot of videos constantly, daily, which are not really relevant, and they are sharing opinions sometimes. Now, this is a major problem. Now, I'm very careful to never share an opinion. I'm very careful not to have opinions, actually. Now, the reason being, if you've got two sets of people and this is truth here, and they're looking in and they have all of these opinions, millions of opinions, they don't see the truth because they see that every single person sees a filter of their opinion before they see the truth. But if they all sit silent-minded and there's no opinions, they simply see with their human vehicle the truth here in the middle. They simply see it. No emotional attachment, no opinionated attachment. They just see. Now, likewise, when you share facts with someone and they come back and they say, yeah, but in my opinion, to me it's irrelevant. I mean, if you have truth and you have branches of facts and information that lead to that, then you can say to the person, okay, this leads to this, and this is what this information leads to, this information and mathematical probability lead to this. And then they say, yeah, but in my opinion, that's not how it is. Then you can see it's irrelevant. Opinions are irrelevant. Now, Spiritual teachers, as I say, are sometimes sharing opinion, which is a bad idea. It's the sons of God and the daughters of men intermingling with each other. And the problem is when they're doing it through opinion, is their opinion might differ to the next opinion, which means it won't fit in so well. Now, of course, some people can share an opinion which is the truth, but that's not a guarantee is the problem. The truth is the truth. An opinion is not the truth. The truth is the only truth, and there's only one truth in our reality. And it's finding that truth which is important. And it's finding the perfect alchemical balance in the human body which allows you to function inside that only truth that we have. Instead of crucifying yourself between the two thieves of the past and the future and worrying about the past and wondering about tomorrow, you can be present with all you have, with all of your five senses, right here in the present moment, where you can observe reality as it is. However, if you look at this present moment and you have an opinion and an emotional attachment, you won't see it. And when you have spiritual teachers sharing opinions, they create a problem, I feel. And I cannot tune into such teachers unless someone is directing people to go within. Then this is not going to assist. It won't. The greatest spiritual teacher you will ever have is yourself. I guarantee it. Take it from someone who's done all of the searching, done all of the listening, done all of the reading. The greatest teacher I ever found was myself. Now you can have physical teachers who might teach you about doctrine, for example, and as long as it guides you to go back into yourself again. You might have physical teachers which teach you about the physical reality you're in, which allows and actually forces you to need to meditate because it's too much to take in unless you do. That's fine as well, because if you're sharing about the physical plane, then it's not something that you can just learn from going within all of the time. You could if you spend enough time to go within and just observe reality as it is, observe the banking systems, observe the wars, etc. Then you start to diffuse it and understand the truth that many are speaking of. But of course, others can share that truth with you and you can cut a corner. Then you can meditate on it and see it for yourself. So, just wanted to share that little video. Opinions and truth do not go together. Some people will say to me, I'll share my information on the Bible. I'll say, Jonah and the whale is not literal. A man was not eaten by a whale and spat out 3 days later after he promised to give 10% of his salary to God whilst he was inside the whale. I'll say, the reason I know that is there's an esoteric mythological language which is documented throughout history, which can be traced and tracked and exists. It exists. There's no contesting its existence. And it is documented through the ages, all the way back to the time when these books were written. And that language, then implemented onto this story, shows that this story, if written with that mystic language of esoterics, mystic mythological language of esoterics, shows that this is an allegory to convey a deeper spiritual truth. And the person then says to me, in my opinion, it's still a fish that ate a man and spat him out in 3 days. And you say, okay, so what facts and logic are you going to use to back up your opinion? Nothing. It's written there and that is how it is. I'm going to ignore the documented evidence of esoteric religion and esoteric language and the language of mysticism. I'm going to ignore the fact that the book was written by mystics. I'm going to ignore the fact that it's a mystic topic, and I am going to stick with the fact it's literal. In common sense and reason, the literal person is refusing to accept the reality of things because of an opinion they've got filtering through. Now, the true reality being that instead of it being a story about a man getting swallowed by a whale, which doesn't really help me today when I want to run Feather's Tail, it tells me that when he's rowing the boat at the beginning, they're rowing the boat across the choppy oceans, the storms of life, the conscious thoughts that are bombarding us constantly. He says, cast me overboard into the depths of the ocean. So I know that this choppy water at the top of our mind and the depth of the ocean is our subconscious mind. So you cast overboard into that subconscious mind, into the depth of meditation. When you're in there, The divine mind, which is represented by the whale, comes and swallows you. Whilst inside the whale you tithe. Tithing in esoterics means to surrender your 10%, your left hemisphere. It is represented as the left hemisphere of the brain in esoteric language. It doesn't mean it's a literal thing, but it refers to the ego, the left hemisphere, the 10%. You give that away to God. You tithe it to the Father. And in doing so, you then become enriched on the right side, the 90%. So the divine mind, the whale, spits you out, and then you go and you watch the chaos of the city, but you watch it from the east because you're now sitting in the right hemisphere of your brain. Through meditation, you've tripped off the ego and you're sitting in the creative, spiritual, loving and peaceful side of yourself. And you can watch the chaos of your thoughts within the chaos of the city. This helps me. I say, wow, okay, yeah, when things are getting chaotic, I need to get deep into meditation. I need to allow the divine mind of God to swallow me in there by surrendering my ego and becoming thoughtless. And then I can observe the chaos of my own mind. And when it's finished doing its thing, I can say, you know what, I wasn't involved in that chaos, so it hasn't exhausted me. Now I can get on with doing God's work. There's a huge difference between someone having an opinion and someone having factual historical evidence on something. And this is why opinions and truth, they don't belong in the same ballpark. And it's really difficult to hear because we're brought up to believe our opinions and what we need and want are very important. But if what you want is truth, then your opinion and my opinion and everybody else's opinion doesn't mean anything. The idea is to meditate and shut down your opinions. And when you do that, that's what meditation is for. Meditation is not to float around the room. It's not to speak to a wizard and a dragon in a far-off astral world. It's about silencing your mind, taking no thought, and viewing the world without the filter of your mind. This is what meditation is for. And in doing that, in surrendering opinion, in taking no thought, you can see the truth for yourself instead of needing to be pointed to by other persons where it was. I began my journey by being pointed. Now, thankfully, I can meditate so deeply that my own intuitive body is able to point myself in different directions and to show me the truth ahead of me. Because my mind and emotional attachment is silent, and I can see that truth. I can see my finger. My opinion is not distorting it and saying maybe it's not my finger, maybe it just is. It's just what I observe. And this is our goal. But unfortunately, there are many persons on the planet who don't want you to get there, so do everything they can to keep you away from there, from nutrition to media to possibly even world events. So, okay. If you have an opinion, you're entitled to it. But when it comes to truth, likelihood is that it's going to get in the way of you seeing truth. And if a spiritual teacher is sharing an opinion with you, I do my best to sidestep that and look for someone who's going to teach you meditation or going to be able to bring you inside of yourself. And for years people have asked me to make meditation videos, and I will do it. I will. Give me time. I've got a whole lifetime to create a catalogue on YouTube, so but for now the children come first, so I haven't had time. Okay, much love, guys.